G'day everyone. Welcome to Behind the Blocks Live. Today with me, special guest is this lovely lady here, Trish Cloud. So Trish, you're about to get thrown under the bus. Get a Minecraft topic thrown at you, or a learning topic thrown at you, and then we're going to brainstorm and try and start creating a lesson. Now, hopefully this will only go for an hour and a half, hopefully. Last time we got so into it that it just kept going, which was great because we were in a flow zone. But yeah, so pull the pin when you're ready, and
all right, let's go.
We'll go from there. So I'll give you the topic, and then I'll introduce you with that little bio I've got. And Here we go. Mm-hmm. So your topic, should you choose to accept it, and this message won't self-destruct in 5 seconds. You and I have talked quite a bit in the past about fractions. Yeah. And you sent me a really nice fractions lesson the other day that I plan on pilfering and using and tweaking and modifying to suit various nefarious purposes of education. But today I want to focus more on like equivalent fractions or adding and subtracting fractions. So happy with that? Yep.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
I got, you said equivalent fractions and
addition and subtraction of fractions.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about it, and I'm going to do this bio thing, and we'll be back to you in 2 to 5 minutes when I've finished your bio, which won't take very long. All right.
Okay.
So you'll still hear me chatting in the background because we haven't got push to talk on. So just feel free to ignore me. All right.
All right.
All right. So Trish Cloud, of course, is a global Minecraft mentor. She's living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and working in Charmac schools as the coordinator of school partnerships. Just last week, Trish was recently accepted as an MIEE, which she is really excited about, and rightfully so. Trish tells me she's been using Minecraft in education for over 7 years now, so there's a lot of experience there that we can call on today. So that's pretty much the bio we've got. So I'll give Trish a couple more minutes to think about it. We're in a random world here, and we're just going to do brainstorming. And so you might just be watching Trish in game while I take notes on the other computer over there. But let me know when you're ready, Trish.
Okay. What grade level are we talking about right now?
Whatever grade level you want it to be.
Okay, well, for lower grades, if we put something out, let's get some different colored glass because of the lines, and you can see them. So what if we put out all right.
Yeah.
So you could do that and then have them explain to you this is a half, but what else could you call it?
Yeah.
But then again, you could do something like that with like so 2, and then you're talking to the person who usually does social studies. You know that, right?
I know, but we talk about maths all the time.
Okay, so 2/4 is also the equivalent fraction of 1/2, or 1/2. Yes?
Okay.
So you'd have 2/4.
So you're the expert. you're the expert at the lower year levels. I've only ever taught what you call, what do you call it? High school? Element? No. Yeah, high school.
Middle school.
Middle school. Middle school.
Yeah.
So if you're taught, so okay, so I'm gonna redo your fractions.
Yeah.
Like that. So that is 2
okay.
like, again, I'm trying to visualize what you're saying here, because
Right.
I would work that this is 2 yellow out of 4 blocks over here, right?
Right.
And what you had, if we put it back, was 2, and then you had like an over 4 here. So
Right.
do the kids represent it like that in your experience, or would we be better off representing it like this, or would we be better representing it like out of the total 4 blocks 2 are yellow? Like, I don't know. Again, you're talking lower year levels that I have no experience with, so
you're probably correct, because like I said, this is not my strong suit. I'm trying to think of ways they could visualize in a 3D environment that could help them. Like if you put out 6 blocks and tell them you have 6 blocks there, make half of them another color.
Oh, I like it. Now you're talking my language. Have a, I'm just going to write that, have a set number of blocks, and then ask students to change a certain fraction.
Right.
Right.
So for little kids, for the younger kids, this would be something they could visualize what the fraction looks like, because I know that elementary kids do a lot of work with 10 block with the blocks that you pull apart.
Oh, the
so
there's so many ways to represent that too.
Right, and in no way is wrong.
And the way the kids do that would be really telling in terms of their thinking process as well.
Right, and it could make 1/4 of the blocks another color.
Yeah. All right. So that's a really good way of representing fractions. I really like that thought process a lot. How do we then step that into equivalent fractions? So if we've got, is it enough? So let's do an example here.
Yeah.
Is it enough to say there's that, and we could probably do one more here. There's an array or a group of, different groups.
So what you would say is, okay, you have all these blocks, all these sets of blocks. Make half
of
a different color of each set, a different color, and then tell me what do they have in common. What makes them in common?
Because even like I don't know. I've got a 7-year-old daughter heading into 8 years old, and I've got a 5-year-old daughter. So would it be logical for the kids to go, well, they know what half is? My daughter knows what half is. So half would be really easy for them to just go through and do something like that, wouldn't it? Do you think?
Yeah. But then what they need to do, and the only way I can think to do this is a sign.
Yeah.
So this would be like 1/2.
1 out of the 2 blocks are yellow, yeah.
Yeah. 2 of the 4 are yellow. 3 of 6. 4 of 8. 5 of 10. And have them, to demonstrate understanding, have them they could take a picture with their camera and put it
Yeah.
in the portfolio. And then now, what I don't know is if at this age they understand that 2/4 reduces to 1/2.
Well, that's the sort of thing we want to be able to get them to. Like, what Minecraft for me does is it creates a way for kids to explore and experience things and come to their own understanding. So what I like, and fractions are a great example of this, is a lot of, from my experience, a lot of kids struggle with fractions. A lot of adults struggle with fractions, let's be honest.
I'm struggling with fractions right now.
No, you're not. You're doing great. So is this a way where kids could go, okay, well, if I go through and make half of all of these blue blocks yellow, and then they sit there and go, well, 1 out of 2, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 8, 5 out of 10. I think it's not I don't think it's stretching to think that they're going to be able to make that connection and go, okay, well, if I'm looking for half out of 20, if I've got 20 blocks and I'm looking for half of that, then it will be 10. I can see the pattern. So that's sort of, that does the equivalent fractions things that in my mind that I think Minecraft is going to be great at is that experiential. Let's see if we can find a pattern, because if we repeat that for a quarter, so if we do another set out here. Now I'm not gonna make this difficult on the kids. Right, so if we made a quarter of each of them the different color, and we'd have to go a bit bigger, so we'd probably have to do more, but they would again be able to see that pattern, I think, and that's what I'm interested in.
Right. They have to give you, the fraction is made up of all the blocks, and then
how many are yellow?
Different color. Yeah. How many are yellow goes on top.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that. So now over here. So if we're using the correct words, numerator equals different color. And we can use, so I think introducing these words to the kids is not a bad idea. Denominator equals all blocks in that model, for lack of a better way of saying it. All right. So I think that allows the kids to see those patterns. So now let's talk about how we could make that, what's the correct way to say this, fun?
Right. So to do
because we've talked about test 4 before and how we can use that to test what kids have done. I wonder whether we could test for a certain number of blocks in an array and do things. I don't know, we might have to explore that a bit later after we've got all the brainstorming out of the way. But what are you thinking? Sorry, I interrupted.
Well, for little kids or a little bit older, like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, how about if we put them in the town template and have them go in and create a store and give them equivalent fractions to stock shelves with things. So they could either put them in chests or they could actually build shelves. I don't know. Can we set things on shelves? We used to be able to.
No, not easily, I don't think.
No. So it'd have to be chests. And they could have chests of fruits and vegetables. And you could tell them we need to have
part of my problem with the chest is that it's out of 27. So we'd have to restrict that.
So what if we put 2 chests together?
And then it's, what's that? What's double 27?
64.
Thank you. I'm a maths teacher. Go me.
Yeah, you're the math teacher, not me. But like the map I was telling you is that one thing you have to do is kind of keep your sizes small enough to where they're not spending a ton of time counting.
Yeah.
So if you put them in a store, and one way you could look at it is if we had 2 chests together, and let me get something out to put in it. Flowers.
Flowers. I'm just grabbing out a whole heap of different things with inventories in them.
So if I put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
12. I think that's a standard chest size. Yeah.
That's 9. 2, 3, 27.
You're whispering, counting.
Yes, I know I am. Okay, so I put 36 flowers in this chest. I probably should have made them all the same color.
Okay.
I'm thinking now I should have made them all the same color. I
hate that middle click doesn't work on this.
What I would say is you've got, tell them they have 36 flowers in the chest. They need to pull out 1/3 of them.
Okay.
That's 36. So they need to pull out 1/3 of them and replace them with white flowers. And now, however they choose to make that fraction is up to them.
Okay. Okay, so if I were to replace, so let's do that. Ooh, if I could spell white. So I would choose to do that in that way if you're talking 1/3.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
Now,
so what if these were, here we go. Same concept, but we're creating orders. Come down to the shulker box.
Okay.
This is only 27 though.
Uh-huh.
So if we do 18, right? So,
right.
So the really, really good thing about these inventories is they're divisible by 3. And if you don't use it all, they're definitely divisible by 2. Mm-hmm. So the advantage of using shulker box is that you can pick it up. So this could be an order.
Right.
So you might be filling people's shopping baskets or an order for a particular person. And then
like shopping online.
Yes.
Like because like you've called the grocery store and you've got the Smith's shulker box.
Yes.
And you need to put their groceries in there, and you've got 27 slots.
Yeah.
And you have to fraction out the 27 slots to fill every slot, but you give them 1/3 as a flower. Could you then it's like if you use 1/3 of 27, that means 9's left.
Yeah.
So what if it's all going to have to be in thirds?
Or halves. So, and what?
Yeah,
what,
but if...
Yeah, go.
But if Yeah, half. And then you could say like you need a third flowers, a half bread, and a half carrots.
So, all right, so let's go. Well, you can't do half and then a third. So you said bread. So let's grab some bread. All right. So if I was to put half bread in here, it would be that plus that.
Okay.
No, it wouldn't.
And
It would be
then
that plus that.
minute.
Think. No, it can't be that.
1,
You can't
2,
do
3,
half.
4,
You
5,
can't do
6.
half. You can't do half because it's 27.
That's 6,
Yeah.
12, 18.
You can't
Should
do
be
half because it's 27. So you can't. You're not going to be able to do that.
Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18. We have 18 empty spots. So if you did
Thanks for the follow, slow dancing.
nine
Yep.
bread,
Which is that?
and then and then you would have room for 9 carrots.
Right. So you're talking half of what's left.
Right, half of
Okay.
what's left.
All right. So we need to be careful how we
Yeah. Is that
word
gonna be
what we're
too
doing
confusing?
here. I don't think
Is
so.
that going to be too confusing?
I don't think so. If we're careful about it, I think if we
I think
yeah, go.
if you go with the older kids, I think they might be able, because a lot of times we have to remember that children don't think abstractly very well.
Yes.
Minecraft helps them think abstractly,
Yes.
and they tend to think abstractly without realizing they're thinking abstractly. But it's just they tend to be very concrete.
All right. So if we then I'm going to reduce this to 20.
Okay.
All right, 20 slots. Okay, so that we've got a better number to work with. So we're only allowed to put 20 items in any given chest.
All right.
Right? So that makes it easier than 27. Okay.
Yes.
So if we said 6 out of 20 are flowers, of what is left, which is 14, so we need to get rid of these. Of what is left, half are carrots and half are bread. So that way they're working out, is that too hard? I don't know. So they're going, because my issue is that out of 27, we can't do anything with out of 27. I mean, we could take it down to out of 9, and we can take it down to out of 3, and we can probably work out of 6 in there some way if we're careful.
Well, you could say out of 27, you could have one shulker box that 1/3 is flowers, the rest is bread. You could have another shulker box that's 2/3. 2/3 are bread and 1/3 is carrot. Thirds, we're only going to be able to do so many combinations.
Yeah.
And 27 it's only divisible by 3.
Yeah, and 9. Yeah.
Or 9.
Yeah, which is.
Or could you say, instead of 1/3, could you say like 1/9?
Yes. Yes, but I think, like, for going through my standards over here, you don't talk about ninths and things until, I don't know, very upper primary here, which, I mean, you're talking 4th to 6th grade, which is probably about the right sort of location. Right. But how do we then get them to, so let's say we stick with the 27. How do we then, so part of the equivalent fractions things is being able to swap between denominators, so going from 27 to 9 and to 3 and stuff like that.
Right.
If we said to them 1/3 of that chest must be flowers, what is that out of 27? 1/6. Can we do that? Can we do 6? No, 1/9 of that chest must be carrots. What's that out of 27? What's the total fraction? What's 1/3 plus 1/6? 1/9, sorry. And that's whatever it is out of 27. Does that make sense? I'm gonna get a board out and do the old-fashioned write that down. So
I'm sorry. I'm like breaking things everywhere.
No, that's all right. 1/3 is bread. 1/9 is carrot, right? What is the total fraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's written there, so we put a shulker box down. 1/3 is bread, which means that 1/9 is carrot, which is that. So in total, that's 9, 10, 11, 12 out of 27. Is that teaching them how to add fractions? It is. Because you can't add 1/3 and 1/9 without making it out of 27.
Correct.
Okay. So
do we just have a place where we have
this is hard.
It is. Since the shulker box is 27 slots.
Trish Cloud is thick, just followed.
Huh?
Someone likes Trish Cloud.
Oh, it may be my daughter. She likes me. She likes me.
It's the children's job to like their parents, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Another thing. What about fractions of chickens laying eggs?
Ooh. What are you thinking there?
If we
Apparently it's not your daughter.
Oh, okay. So if we have chickens, we need some fence.
All right, I'll build you a fence if you want. You get your chickens ready.
Okay. Trying to think, there should be something we could do with chickens laying eggs.
You're in the way of some of the fence at the moment. Ooh, that didn't sound very nice. What are you doing to that poor chicken? Ah, monsters are off. Hang on, I'll turn them back on. Or mobs are off, I should say. I turned them off. There you go, you'll be able to do it now.
And they lay eggs about, what, every 5 minutes?
About that, on average.
That's a little chicken.
Because you clicked on...
That one's not going to lay an egg.
Not until he grows up. If you click on the adults with the spawn egg in your hand, you get the babies. If you click on the ground, you don't. So
I thought I clicked on the ground.
Oh no, it doesn't work anymore. That must be a Java.
No, it just randomly.
That must be a Java thing.
Okay.
So what? Okay, go. I think I know where you're going with it, but.
So there's something we could. Or we have pins of animals. Kids love animals.
Yeah.
How about how many chickens are in here? Can we count them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 is my estimate.
14, 15, 16. All right. So
keep thinking.
Move half the chickens, move a quarter of the chickens, because 16 is going to be an easier number to work with than 27.
All right. What if we did that process a bit easier?
Mm-hmm.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So instead of moving them, what if your task was to recolor a quarter of these sheep?
Oh, that's a good idea. How do you do that? I don't know how to do that.
Get some dye, get some lapis, get some. What color do you want them to be?
Well, tell me how to do it.
You need the die, so you pick the color die you want. So there's 16
let's
dies.
go lapis.
Okay, so that'll make them blue.
Oh, I
so
see it.
grab lapis, and then right-click the sheet.
Okay.
Look at me teaching you Minecraft stuff.
Yeah.
And no slow dancing. I haven't heard of Ligma. So that's another really good. So you've done it. Well done. That's another really good way of visualizing the fraction. So instead of blocks of grass, do we go through and do the visualization of a fraction in this way? Or like, I think both options are suitable. This one moves around, so it's a bit harder to. I think this would be harder for. Nice try, slow dancing.
Chicken escaped.
Yeah, he escaped before I managed to get the fence in. Because this moves, I think this would be okay for older ones.
Right.
But not for younger ones. I think the... So, alright, so now make 1/8 yellow. So what have we done? I'm going to write this down just so that I've got it. So we went 1/4 blue, 1/8 yellow. Okay. And now pick another colour. Once you've done that, and we'll talk about what we can do with that. Because I like this because we can adjust the denominator really, really easily.
There's 1.
There's 16 in there.
There's 16.
So you might need to make another one yellow if you're going to go 1/8.
Okay.
Okay. And now do 1/4 another colour. What colour are you choosing? Red?
Yeah.
Red? Okay.
You've got my brain so twisted.
No, your quarter's the same as the blue. You did the blue quarter, so just do 4.
Okay.
It's alright, you're right. Don't hit him!
Don't kill him. Don't kill the sheep.
Animal cruelty live on Twitch. Alright. So it turns out there might not have been 16. There might only
that
be...
would help. That may be why I was...
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 8. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There should be one more. There you go. Happy now?
Yeah. That's better.
So now, if we said, okay, 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/4 equals how much? Do you know what I mean? Or what is left out of 1? And this is where the subtraction comes in. What is 1 minus 1/4 minus 1/8 minus 1/4, as in how many white sheep do I have remaining? And it's 6 out of 16. Right. Do you know what I mean? And then we can get them to okay, well, if it's 6 out of 6 out of 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4. Actually, I think we're better off doing it like this. So what if we aligned it like this? I need white glass. Sorry, I've had a thought.
Yellow glass.
Yellow glass and red glass.
Yep.
All right. So we've made 4 blue. We made 4 red. I didn't grab red yet. Let's grab red.
And we did 2 yellow.
2 yellow. So if you make... All right. And we made 4 red. And then 4 are blue. So we have how many left?
that are white.
that are white.
Maybe we should move the 2 yellow ones here and then put white ones there. Or, yeah.
See, now that's really interesting that you wanted to do that, because I wanted to do that too, and I deliberately didn't. Because that was pushing my thinking on someone else. Why did you want to do it? Let's talk about that, because that's just as interesting as the lesson we're talking about.
In my mind, I was thinking about trying to keep the whites as close together as possible.
So
Because
what would stop you doing that?
That would work too. It was trying to keep the largest number together, so they would be even putting the yellows there.
Yeah.
It because this is essentially their denominator. The biggest chunk of their denominator. It's what's left in the pin that hasn't been colored.
Yeah.
And it's giving them a baseline. So if these all stay together, it's the biggest chunk. That's 6 right there.
Okay.
And so
My
I don't
head,
know
my head wants it like that.
That's fine.
Now that we've got it all lined up.
But the thing is that if they can get to the answer by putting those blocks in whatever order they want, that's fine. But I think if we tell them there's 16 sheep in there they need to make and give them the fractions, then they need to build this.
Yes. And then build. So because the sheep are moving, I don't like the sheep moving. I need you to build me a model to demonstrate what's happened.
And they can do it in glass, but they need to use either the jewels, things that have the lines so they can see the separation.
Yeah, so you're talking about not using things like this.
Like carpet. Right. Because I think because I just think it makes it harder for them to see it.
Yeah, because there's no lines between them. So I think I agree with you there. I think we force the issue of use the glass.
Or jewels, because I think lapis works.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Where's lapis block?
And I think
when they could realistically use multiple.
I think gold works. Yeah, there's several things that has the different lines in them. It's just carpet. Carpet is one. That does
and the concrete.
Yeah. But if we're in a farm mode and we take care of our animal, sheep are going to work great and you could put different size pens of sheep.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think we've hit the nail on the head here.
But another thing we could do is the sheep need to eat, so you need to go plant them some food.
I love it.
You got to go plant them some food, and it has to be done in equivalent fractions. Now, the red sheep like to eat red flowers.
Okay.
The yellow sheep like to eat yellow flowers. The blue sheep like to eat blue flowers. The white sheep like to eat white flowers, and you need to put them in the ground. So they'll have...
We have blue flowers. Yes, there are blue, red, blue, purple, white,
yellow,
orange, green, yellow. There's a lot of purple and reds, not a lot of every other colour, so we'd have to be careful. But again, I really like... There's no black, so they can't do black. Yeah, okay. Slow dancing, no, I don't think I do have bits set up. I'm not partnered or affiliated or anything as of yet. So what were you thinking with regards to the chickens? Were you thinking after 5 minutes we come in here and see how many chickens have laid an egg? Is that what you were going with?
Yeah, I was wanting to know, have they laid any eggs?
I got 10. So I
You
got
got
10
10?
eggs. I picked up 10 eggs out of 16.
All right. All right. So your chickens are laying eggs. You need to gather the eggs. And then you need to tell us, oh, here's a couple eggs down here. You actually have a dozen.
I do have a dozen.
That's
Okay.
that's even better.
Yes.
Um, what are we going to do with the eggs? But eggs, because a 12 is a good number to work with. So on our farm, we've got eggs and we've got sheep and we've got chickens. Should we put them in a shulker box?
We can.
Because they are divisible by 3, like the shulker box.
There you go. Is that how you wanted them laid out?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Well, while you think, we've had slow dancing hours. What's the goal here? So I'll respond to that. You keep thinking. So the aim of this is to create a Minecraft Education Edition map to support teachers around the world and students around the world to learn about equivalent fractions, how to add and subtract fractions as well. So Trish is a global Minecraft mentor, as am I, and we're looking at how we can support students to understand equivalent fractions, and this was the first sort of array we looked at and how we could do it. Trish is now talking about eggs as a way to do it, and we talked about sheep as well as a way to do it, trying to make this a bit more fun and interactive, and then how we can make that enjoyable for students. How you going, Trish? She's counting.
Yeah, I know. I'm counting again. I'm trying to think, what could we do with those eggs? Because if we're doing all that with the sheep, we should do something with the eggs. And I hear eggs popping
Yeah, there
everywhere.
are eggs popping everywhere.
But what can we do with the eggs? Now we've
All right. Okay. So what if we said,
can we share these sheep?
Yeah, of course you can.
So what about if we make them orders for the well, we're once again to that 27. I was thinking about making orders like we were talking about with the grocery store.
Yeah.
But we have flowers, we have red, blue, and yellow sheep, and we could put wool in there, we could put eggs in there.
Okay, turns out I can't do math at the moment. So what if we started with a shulker box? So this is your order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, of the 16, 12, 14, 15, 16. Right? So start in that one. After 5 minutes, how many chickens laid eggs? All right. So after our first, let's say it was 5 minutes, we had 12 chickens lay eggs. Okay, so
Right.
that's 12 out of 16. After the next 5 minutes, so if I go through here now and collect the eggs again, and we can clone that initial shulker order thing, right? So that time I got 11. Right? Oh, and there's the 12th one now. So if we get rid of 11, you know, this sort of lends itself to data collection as well. You know, so every 5 minutes, if we did a collection, and then we can talk about whether this is able to, is this equivalent to any other fraction? Can we make it simpler? You know, and then and then you go out of the 5 collections we did over the half hour we were in this world doing this, how many total eggs like add your fractions together, if that makes sense. So 11 out of 16 plus 12 out of 16 plus whatever out of 16 plus whatever out of 16, and head into mixed numbers. I don't know.
Well, they have to learn them.
They do at some point. So slow dancing, yes. The aim is that we will create a map and publish it to the education.minecraft.net lessons site for other people around the world to use. Completely voluntary.
Oh, you're getting questions?
Yes, we are getting questions.
Whoa!
And I don't know whether they're showing up on stream, actually. Is the Twitch chat showing up on stream? I don't know. Yeah, so completely voluntary. Trish is a global Minecraft mentor, as I said, and so am I. So we're just doing this out of the goodness of our heart. Is that right, Trish?
That's it. Yeah. Now, what we might need, and I don't know if such a thing exists, is a clock or timer, so they know they need to collect eggs every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's going to have to be external to Minecraft. Yeah. Making clocks in this version of Minecraft is not easy.
Right.
Without scoreboard, if we get scoreboard, it's doable. Without scoreboard, I think it's actually
clone the skulker boxes along here, and they would need to work on this project in pairs, and they have so many collections they need to make.
Yeah.
And then, so this not only is working on fractions, it's also data collection.
Yes, and then we can use that data to do other stuffs. So, yeah. I mean, many months ago, we talked about a world called Mathlandia.
Right.
You know, this is the kind of project, for lack of a better way of saying it, that aligns with that kind of world and idea. Mm-hmm. So, all right.
So we've got
addition and subtract. We've got addition and subtraction of fractions. We've got making orders in terms of getting equivalent fractions here visually. We've got data adding fractions. What else do we need? Or are we doing too much?
So the sheep need a place to stay out of the rain.
Okay.
So have them build them a barn that is, we give them the fraction 1/4 1/4 brick, 1/4 wood, 1/4 diamond, just because diamond looks good, and 1/4 lapis just because I like it. So you've got bricks, you've got wood, you've got diamonds, and you've got lapis. It's
lapis
just random.
was the other one. Yep. I was just trying to write
and
them
so
all down.
They have to build a building that has to be 1/4 brick, 1/4 that, 1/4 that, and they're going to have to figure that out on their own, depending on the size of the building.
Yes.
And they may choose to do it. They may choose to do it with just one wall being one thing, one wall being another thing, and one wall being the other thing. But what they have to tell you is, and they've got to keep in mind, they don't want the number to be too big, because then it gets hard to work with. So if they use, they're going to have to keep track of how many blocks are in the entire building, so they can tell us what is 1/4 of each. Is that too easy?
I don't think so. Because if I was doing that, as painful as it would be, that is what I would do. I would pattern it as I have there because that's just how I am. But I would place one of each block. So place one, place the next one, place the next one, place the next one, go back to the start.
Yep.
So my wall wouldn't be, it would be horrible to look at, but it would be correct.
Right.
Without me having to do any thinking and calculations. So there is that way around it. But if they had to then...
So, because it's like one way they could look at this is they could say there's 16 blocks, and of those 16 blocks, 4 are diamonds, so that'd be 4 over 16. What's the equivalent fraction of that?
And then you could then... That's the same... It's the same fraction, but it's 2 out of 8. Do you know what I mean? Right. So this relates back to what we were talking about before quite well.
Or we could tell them instead of 1/4, we have... Do we need to throw a 5th block in to have them do it in 5ths?
Well, I think because Minecraft works in 64 stacks, right? So I just threw you 64 glass, right? It would be natural for them to stay in quarters, and everything else we've done so far has been... I suppose no, it hasn't, because over here we were talking about thirds and quarters and thirds and halves and things. So I don't think adding in a 5th block would be a bad idea.
Because well, let's put it this way. Let's say, to take it, if you had a rubric and this was not the top level would be the top of really demonstrating mastery with this idea would be, instead of using 4 blocks, use 5 blocks.
Yeah.
Because that would require a deeper level of thinking than just using 4.
Yes.
Because then you need to, instead of things being in halves and quarters, it would be more a 5th of it.
Tenths.
Yes.
And that brings in your decimals quite nicely. Yeah, that would bring in your decimals, so you could then start playing in the decimal world.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so to build a barn, come on mouse, where are you? Could also throw another block in to make it out of 5, which could lead to out of 10, which then plays in decimals if necessary. Because I know in the later standards in my area, there is a requirement for kids to be able to convert from fractions. It's not until grade 6 here, so 11, 12-year-olds. But yeah, they need to then convert between them all.
And I'm sure it's no different here in the United States.
Okay. All right. So we've got some really good ideas. We've got some really good activities we can do with them. So you're thinking we're on a farm. So all right. So let's go through the sequence of the lesson, and then I think we'll call it for the day, and then we'll get together another time and work on this. Do we start with an array of blocks like we did earlier today?
Yes, and it's got to have a purpose to go with the story of why we're here.
Yeah.
And why would we have these array of blocks on our farm?
Okay.
Maybe instead of them, oh look, it's a rabbit. How cute.
I just kicked him off our array.
What about instead of using glass blocks, hay and pumpkins?
Yep. So if it was all
So
okay, so if it was all hay, um, is it hay blocks? Yeah, it is hay blocks.
yeah, and then
So we change.
and we want to, since it's a farm thing, they have to swap out half of the hay for a pumpkin.
Yep. So we're trading. We're trading with someone.
Yeah,
We're trading half
yeah,
our hay for pumpkins.
yeah. Somebody has come by and they've brought you some pumpkins. They need some hay for their horses. So, and they're going to give you they're going to swap
For every bale of hay you give them or block of hay you give them, they're going to give you a pumpkin.
a pumpkin.
Make it happen. What would that look like?
Right.
Okay. Yep. That'll work. Okay. I like that.
Okay. All right. And
So
you're not just a people send you orders because you have the best sheep and chickens and eggs
yeah.
around.
You could also do blocks of wool there or bales of wool.
Yeah, blocks of wool, and they have to be red, blue, white, and yellow because that's what color sheep you have.
So, oh no, we don't want to use wool as blocks because it doesn't have the line between them.
Right, it doesn't have the line between it.
Okay.
But
it's probably been 5 minutes. Time for another collection.
So I'm wondering if another of our, how long does it take a sheep to grow his wool back after you shear them?
They've got to be on grass.
Well, we can put them on grass. It just so happens we're not on grass right now.
It's a random-ish amount of time based on when they eat the grass.
Oh, okay. So but we could put a shulker box out, and we could have them on grass, and they need to shear the sheep to where they have
Does it change how much wool you get when you shear sheep?
I don't know.
Okay. So if I shear, see, I get 2 red from that guy. I only got 1 red.
So if you shear all the red sheep, how?
Oh, you got that one. So
How-
I got
how
6.
much-
You got 1, I reckon. I think you picked up 1.
Oh, I got 6.
No,
I
you
got
might have
1.
had that from before, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, it got 7.
So we got 7 total out of 4 sheep.
All right.
Oh man, that's gonna get.
But what you want is, this is Mr. Smith's shulker box, and he only wants 1/3 of his shulker spots filled with wool.
Okay. So we need to wait
so-
and get more red sheep, because to get. Oh, you've stolen it. Sorry.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait until you get enough to get 1/3 for Mr. Smith's shulker box.
He wants his shulker box 1/3 full with red wool.
Mhm.
Or I mean,
And then
yeah. Or 10 out of 27, or like we could, yeah.
it's
okay.
like, yeah. And so,
Okay.
is that getting too busy?
I don't know. There you go. I got 8 blue ones that time.
Because I don't see this as the more we think about Mathlandia and doing things in Mathlandia, it's like this could be something they do. They just go back to at different times.
Well, that's it. So this is going to be a part of like a fraction world to Mathlandia,
right.
if you know what I mean.
Right. And so this is part of it, is they come in and they need, and the lesson part of it is there's a blue shulker box that belongs to Mr. Smith. He needs 1/3 blue wool. Wait until you have enough to give him 1/3 blue wool. His order is not complete until he gets 1/3 blue wool in his shulker box. Just like we're collecting data on the chicken eggs, and you need to check back. And yeah.
Okay. So it does. So see how your one says shulker box there and this one says Trish's shulker box?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So we could have it as Trish's order.
Yep.
You know, now I was hoping that'd show up in world, but it doesn't. But it is going to keep it.
Or we could put a sign with them that has the customer's name on it.
Yeah.
Or a board, a slate. Can you put a slate on them?
Sure.
Have you tried that?
Hold shift, you'll be able to do it, surely.
There you go. There you go.
So that works.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so we're doing like first activity. So there's about 4 different activities running here, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think if we lay this out right, then teachers can drop in and drop out where it's appropriate for their students.
Because this part of the farm is going to be easy whereas the egg part is going to be more difficult and the sheep part is going to be more difficult. You could even incorporate that lesson I gave you into this.
Yes.
You know, I never noticed before.
What's that?
They look like smiley faces. This one's going, oh, and this one's smiling.
You want to see a face? Have you seen this one? Hang on, I got to face it the right way. I think it's got to face this way. There you go. He looks cranky.
Yeah, he does.
That's an observer block. He puts out a redstone signal when stuff in front of him changes. So if I put a redstone lamp here and you place a block in front of him, so place your shulker box down, see the light. How about I place it down so you can see it? You watch the light. So when something changes in front of it, it outputs a redstone signal.
Oh, okay. I see. That's cool.
All right.
All right.
Okay. I think we'll call it there. I think we've got a good solid set of activities, and then we just need to get together and plan them out and write the lesson plans.
Right. Write them out. Mm-hmm. And build it not on sand.
No, build it somewhere a little bit more
grassy.
Green. Yeah, bit green.
So the sheep can get their hair back.
Yes.
Because we've got naked sheep over here.
Only the coloured ones.
Bless their hearts. Yeah, the coloured ones are all bald.
What I wouldn't do for the fill tool right now. It'd be so much easier than trying to work out the coordinates. I'm not going to do the coordinates because I'll stuff it up.
Hmm.
All right. Well,
They look a little miffed.
they do. They do. They look
Yeah,
funny.
they do.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Trish, especially since you're on vacation. I
You're
really do
welcome.
appreciate your time, and I look forward to getting this all together and working with you in the future and getting this available.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Awesome. I will
All
go
right.
off stream now, and thank you anyone and everyone who watched, and we'll catch you next time.